be amazed at how many high-level basketball players struggle shooting right-handed and left-handed layups accurately and consistently. You got to be able to do both so that you can capitalize off the space you create.
Finishing at the rim is all about recognizing where you are in relation to the basket and the defense. Trying to control the defense's position and protecting the ball all the way through the finish.
The pass, not knowing it was coming.
Stephen reversing it.
On this possession, I'm going up against a pretty good defender in Avery Bradley, who is a really good ball hawk. He likes to put pressure on the ball. I know that having played against him and watched film against him or of him, and so I'm prepared going into this game for that. And I know his tendency is to try to pick me up as high as he can on the court, almost at half court, to try to take away my initial shot threat. So on this possession, I don't even think Coach Kerr called a play. I'm sorry, he probably did call a play, but I didn't listen to it. I knew where you see Avery Bradley pick me up like 3, 4, or 5 feet beyond the three-point line, that if I can just get by him, I'll have so much space to kind of attack and catch him off guard. In this possession, it works pretty well. I get by Avery Bradley, and then his big man has to try to, move in different directions with me, and he's not really used to that. And so, obviously, I still have to make a tough layup right here, but I give myself a great advantage because of how fast I'm able to get down into the paint. And this one, a layup we've shown where you just switch sides of the basket, obviously protecting the ball with your shoulder and having touch on the backboard to put it up and watch it go in. So right here, when you get downhill, or when I get downhill past my defender, and I take on that secondary defender that's trying to react to my drive. At this point, it's what we've been talking about a lot in this class is basically looking at the defender's feet and his hands. And so I see his right foot is obviously his lead foot, and I have the ability to basically do a crossover step to make him open up his chest and allow me to get that edge to get my shoulder into his chest and protect the basketball and finish on the other side of the rim, because now he's pinned up behind me. On this one, the best way for me to protect the ball in this situation from a pretty good shot blocker in Amir Johnson, who's probably 7 inches taller than me, is to just try to make him turn and take his balance away the best I can and take his explosion away. So if I tried to shoot it on the right side of the basket right there, I would have had to expose the ball. And on this possession, because I commit to picking up my dribble right here, there's no real angle of attack to get the ball on the backboard. So for me to change angles right here at that the moment I do and get to the other side of the basket, it just allows me to open up the rim and the backboard a lot more for me to get it a good touch and good angle of approach to the rim. The ball is protected. The ball, me, and my man is always the principle that I want to keep, whether I'm dribbling, shooting, or trying to finish at the rim.
For Cleveland, 28-0 in the first half of that game on Monday.
This one, it happens pretty fast, but I see Zaza, my teammate, coming up to set a screen, and I kind of give him just one little jab step to kind of freeze my defender and make sure he runs into the screen. And at that point, it's kind of fun at this moment when you can get a big who's not used to being out on the perimeter to have to guard you out there. All I do is a simple between the legs move to get him off balance and get downhill, and being able to finish and extend to the basket and not let any shot blocker get there is really important, and making sure you have that explosion to the basket, because I gave myself an opportunity to drive the lane. So right here, most of the time you see me with the ball in my hand, either doing a dribble move or coming down and getting a jump shot. But a lot of times I'm able to get, baskets off of off-the-ball cuts, we call them. So I'm kind of lulling my defender to sleep on the other side of the lane while my big guy, Zaza, has the ball. And I basically just do a slash cut right in front of his face. Same principle here, but protecting the ball. I use my left shoulder to keep the defender away from the basketball, and I'm just able to have a clever, crafty finish off the glass. Very simple play, really. It's just a matter of getting that step on your man and protecting the ball with whatever your off shoulder is so that you can extend to the basket. Another example of protecting the basketball after doing a very simple, double crossover move, but keeping my feet in balance, keeping everything underneath me. I have good balance. Right here, there's something we talked about, keeping our nose behind our toes. I could do a little bit better job on this point of staying, in balance when it comes to not lunging over and keeping, everything underneath me in a solid base. But there's subtle detail I can work on, but for the most part, getting down the lane and finishing at the rim, making sure no shot blocker can get to the ball. That's very important.
Well, if you're Stan Van Gundy, you got to be happy with 30 points here in this first quarter against a high.
So this one is a two-step floater, almost like a jump stop floater. Looking at this play at the beginning with, though, I could have rushed that pick and roll because I'm not really in position to take that screen right now. I'm way too high and way too high up the court to really utilize the screen my teammate's trying to set for me. But I do a subtle little hesitation dribble just to allow my screener to move up just a little bit to be able to get that contact. And once I come off the screen, really tight shoulder to his waist, I'm able to stay under control and get, as the big man right here starts to retreat down the floor, I'm able to get into a little two-stop floater to be able to gather myself. If I were to try to do a one-step floater right there, I probably would have went one too far, away from the basket to try to execute that. But I would have been moving too fast to try to, I would have lost my balance probably. So the 1-2 step that I got into it allowed me to just stay composed and have a little bit more touch on that shot because it's such a tough shot. This is a way to talk about different finishes. On this one, we got the 2-foot floater, and it's really important to keep your feet shoulder width apart, keep them squared up to the basket. You want to be explosive in your drive going into it so you can keep whatever leverage you've gained and keep creating that space. But it all leads into that 1-2 step, 2-footed floater that you're under control. And same kind of concept. I don't want to take off from there and then go, 2 or 3 feet in front of me and be, in jeopardy of getting an offensive foul call if somebody were to try to take a charge. It's all about staying under control and having touch and feel in that kind of shot. And that last pound is pretty aggressive, so I can get into my shot. And we can do that shot right-handed or left-handed. That's the key to being a great finisher, and the paint is being versatile with your finishes. So if I have a defender on my right side, I can keep him at bay with my right shoulder, like I do right there, and finish with the left hand so I keep it away from any kind of shot blocker or any kind of outstretched arm. If all the footwork's the same, though. So this one's a very similar approach into the shot, but it's a 1-footed floater, so it's more fluid. If you're starting from farther out and you're kind of going downhill and you decide to shoot that shot at the last minute, that's mostly when you're going to go into a 1-footed floater. But it's all about, again, being under control and not going outside of your space to shoot that floater and being, running into, defenders, set up to take a charge.
They've gone to Iguodala.
So that's a 1-foot floater, right-handed shot. Obviously, there's a simple pump fake here. I'm a threat to shoot now because they know I like to shoot that shot most of the time, and so Kyrie has to honor that and he has to respect that. And so when I pump fake, he launches at me, and I'm able to go around him. And from there, I'm getting into my floater. I'm under control the whole time. So even though I'm going downhill pretty fast, my last step is really hard into the ground. I find my arch. I'm able to explode up, and I'm under control. So that defender actually runs into me. And it doesn't really affect my shot, obviously, because I make it, but I'm able to draw the foul because I'm under control and my defender's not. This last type of floater is one where you can get a quick, subtle sidestep into it to create a little bit more space before you take off into your floater. So hard pound, sidestep, same fundamentals and mechanics shooting the floater, but that last step allows you to create space at the last second while a defender's trying to recover once you beat him, into the paint. And we do the same thing right hand and left hand. Same fundamentals. Getting the ball in the shooting pocket, not letting the ball drop too far low on your body, keeping it right in that shooting pocket the entire move, finishing with a high, soft follow-through, squared up to the basket.
Quite a story. Caught himself into a D-League tryout.
Another one-handed floater that is very, very important to utilize when you get into the paint. Obviously, I'm one of the shorter guys out there, and there's all these tall, long shot blockers that are going to try to bother my shot when I get in there. So the one-footed floater is nice because it's a quick attack. I get into the paint, and before they even know it, I've already released the ball with some touch so that I can get a good finish. So being able to use that is really key. It all starts with the ball handling, though, being able to keep those dribbles active and hard bounces so I have control of the basketball. I chose the floater because when I got around my initial defender, who's LaMarcus right here, I get by my initial defender, and most of the time, you would have a help defender kind of, approach the ball and try to stop me at that point of attack. But instead, they kind of stay home and stay lower, on the court. And so the finish at the rim and the layup, that's not really there because there's too much traffic. So for me to be able to kind of see that once I get around my defender, have the balance to go, 1 foot, one leg floater, that allows me to stay away from the traffic when I don't need to go in there with, into the trees, as they say.